The December night of 1944 on the East Prussian front was such that it felt as if history itself had taken a cold breath and wanted to freeze everything in place. The sky was heavy, packed with clouds, and the wind was so sharp it could slip into any moving person as bones and turn them to stone. Snow stretched endlessly in every direction, the trees held a white burden on their branches, and the entire forest was drowned in that silence which becomes even more terrifying after the screams of war. That night, a small German reconnaissance team was moving forward, and among them was a young communication officer, Elise Ritter, only 23, carrying her radio pack and documents tightly against her chest. Snow fell on her shoulders, the cold slowly numbing her fingers, yet her eyes held the same determination that kept any German officer alive on their mission. As the team reached deeper into the forest, an explosion suddenly lit up the sky. Machine guns roared from all sides. The blasts echoed in Elise's ears, her comrades screamed, bullets shattered tree bark, and her breathing became fast and broken. She saw a soldier fall to the ground, but there was no time to help. The next moment someone shouted, "Run!" And that one instinct saved Elise's life. She ran as fast as she could, her boots sinking into the snow, her legs trembling from the cold, but running was her only choice. The forest was dark, the path unknown, and enemy flashlights flickered behind her like ghosts. The night was so black that every shadow looked like a threat. The heavy radio bag on her shoulder suddenly felt many times heavier. Yet she could not throw it away. It was her identity, her mission, her survival. She ran for several minutes without stopping, until her foot caught on a frozen root and sent her crashing to the ground. Her breath rose as clouds in the icy air, snow clung to her cheeks, and her hands trembled as they sank into the snow. She was trying to get up when a flashlight beam struck her directly in the eyes. A harsh voice echoed, "Don't move." Elise's heart froze inside her chest. She slowly raised her hands. 5 Allied soldiers stood around her in the freezing dark, their faces hardened by exhaustion and the brutality of war. They lifted Elise to her feet, tied her hands. The rope was rough, biting into her wrists, leaving red marks. Snow gathered on her hair, her coat, her eyelashes. Her breathing was broken, but she was silent, so silent that her silence itself became a scream. They dragged her through the forest to an old broken wooden outpost. It must once have been a hunter's cabin, now only a dark, cold, lifeless place. Cracks in the wooden walls allowed icy wind to slip inside. A flickering lantern cast trembling shadows on the walls. Elise was made to sit on the floor, her hands tied behind her back. In front of her stood an enemy officer, his face worn, eyes bloodshot, voice heavy. He slowly began questioning Elise, where her unit was, why she was in the forest, what frequency her radio used. Each time, Elise gave him only one thing: silence. Silence that, despite her fear, was the last weapon of her courage. The cold was so intense that her fingers began to burn with numbness. Snow melted inside her clothes. The wooden floor was damp and slick with icy moisture. Outside, the wind howled. Inside, her breath trembled. All night long, the silence of the cabin and the soldiers' unblinking eyes weighed on her. Every passing minute made her feel she might break. Yet she held herself together. Sometimes a soldier came close, stared at her, and walked away without saying a word. Sometimes someone looked at her as if trying to understand her strength. Sometimes they ignored her entirely. But for Elise, the greatest torment was this uncertainty. She did not know how long the night was, nor what the morning would bring. By dawn, the snow began to fall again. The soldiers opened the door of the cabin and brought Elise outside. The world was white, the sky gray, and the forest filled with bitter cold. Elise took a deep breath, her lips dry, her hands numb, her eyes exhausted, but she was still alive. They took her forward as a prisoner, across unfamiliar lands, among unfamiliar people, but with every step she repeated only one thought: I will not give up. As long as I breathe, there is hope.